idea of Zionism was we're not Jewish. We're Hebrew, we're Israelis. Jews are something else. And most Jews never went to Israel. You can't make Israel representative of Jews, and you can't hold Jews accountable for what Israel does. So I really think we're playing into what Israel calls the new anti-Semitism that was invented by the Israeli government that says any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitism. I think we have to negate that, and therefore I just wanted to say here that I was a little uncomfortable with the idea that somehow criticism of Israel has anything to do really with anti-Semitism.
All right, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the for elect, preaching his word in truth, sincerity. Right, to 12 tribes scattered abroad who we know on this side of the world as so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And a healthy shalom to the sisters, to your ribs out there learning silence and staying in order. I say to you all, shalom. Right, we had just seen this JOO-ish person, which really they can't say nothing to him because he's allegedly one of them, so he could speak openly. But if he wasn't, they would crucify him. You know, they might even take that channel down or whatever the hell, you know, station they was on. But he would be considered a reject or a bug out, and they would blacklist him for saying what he said, right? You know, he made a little sense, but not according to the scriptures. Right, according to the law that they placed, right, you should be able to speak on the things that the people from that country do, right, around the world, right? Because when you speak against what the people of that country do, which they're not biblical, right? They're Edomites, you know. But as the world views it, the law that they pass, an anti-SHEM, right, Mitism. So, you know, you should be able to speak on the things that the people of that country do all around the world when it has nothing to do with religion, you know. Because everybody who speaks on what they do are not speaking on what they do with the Torah or the, you know, the Talmud. Nobody's speaking on those things. We're really speaking on politics, you know, finances, you know, monopolies and things of that nature. Right? At the very least, it could be considered borderline prejudice, right? But it's human nature to be prejudiced, right? So, like, the word prejudice comes from the word before, and judice comes from the word judge, right? Well, judgment, judgment, right? Based on appearance, you know, female, male, you know, all these things we all have, right, as a judgment. You know, they call it a gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, intuition. Everybody has that. So when you got a group of people who are the minority as far as numbers goes, but the majority of the wealth holders, right, the chips, the ones who holds all the chips, controls the media, and you know, goes around and intervenes and influence countries to move a certain way. Well, you got the right to speak on it, right? And this is why, you know, people have there's a reason why people feel the way they feel about these people, right? It ain't just come out of thin air. It's not just made up, right? And people should be able to speak on whatever they want to speak on without worrying about if they're gonna get prosecuted or blackballed, or they get their accounts messed with, right? In order to have that kind of power, right? This is what people are fighting against. The fact that they have the power and they could do things like that, like shut your internet off. Like you're basically proving to people right that you have a lot of power, more reach than you should, all because of the second woe, in which a lot of people believe that they orchestrated in the first place so they could get into that land. Right? And now if you speak the truth, they go against it. Right? And this is in their nature, right? The scriptures talk about that the wicked are estranged from the womb as soon as they be born, speaking lies. The fact that they took, the real Israelites' identity, right? You could only do that if you have power, and that power was given to them by Yahweh Shem, right? Job 9:24, the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who and who is he? Right? Paraphrasing. Right? If this is not Esau, Edom, the wicked of the world, then you got to explain who is that one nation, right? Because Esau represents a nation, the Edomites. Who is that nation that's ruling, that the world, the earth was given to, right? And will hold that power until the end of earth, right? So if you believe we're in the end times, and you believe the scriptures, right? Because Christians don't believe the scriptures, right? They leave that book of Revelation basically just to spookism and actual dragons and mythical creatures. Like, this is why they shouldn't touch this book. But what I'm getting is, like, if you know that Esau's gonna have the whole world under his grip, right? These wicked people, who are they if it's not Esau? Because we know that the people in that land, until Hamashiach Yahushua comes back, there's no Israelites in possession, and the majority of the possession in that land. They might be scattered, sprinkled of our people there, but the majority of those people who run it, control it, do legislature there, are not the people of the book, the actual people. They're imposters, right? That's what the scriptures say in Revelations. I know the blasphemy of them that say that are Jews, but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. This is Luke chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, right? This is talking about actual Israelites at that time, right? 70 AD, after Hamashiach Yahushua has passed away, right? 40-something years later, when they were exiled towards the east into Africa, right? You can read books like From Babylon to Timbuktu, right? It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down, right? This is the actual place of the Gentiles, right? Which Gentiles goes into nations, because we have the Ishmaelites, go in there, and the Edomites. It says until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, right? Until they done what they were supposed to do, right? And they accomplished their goal, and then Yahushua then removes them, which has not happened yet. That means that we are still in the time of the Gentiles. Right? So I mean, even though this guy in the video spoke, the truth, it ain't gonna go nowhere, right? You're not gonna be able. It's not gonna be a green light to be able to speak on the people running Jerusalem right now. I don't think it'll ever be a thing so long as they're in power, right? So we need to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, right? Romans 11 talks about that the powers that be are ordained by the Lord. We just gotta let the Lord do his thing, and he'll sort it all out for us. But for now, we just use wisdom, right? Don't be a super protester where it's gonna offend the ministry. But I think it was pretty interesting what he said, right? Putting that seed in the people's minds. But anyways, on to the next one. I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Makah, HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the hopeful elect, preaching his word in truth and in sincerity, to your rib, to your sisters out there, Lord, in silence.